Hello, friends. This is John Klein III with episode 80 of Shadow and Flame with Magic, the podcast. And today we're going to review Uncanny X-Men 242. So let's get to it. And once again, thank you to Francisco for providing the theme song to the podcast and appreciate it. And you. So this is the final part of the big tie-ins I own with Inferno. I have two more issues that are more like aftermath issues, so that should be fun. But this is Inferno, the giant size spectacular. Madeline Pryor is in the upper left character box, looking amazing. This would have cost you $1.50 or 200 cans. It is Comic Code Authority approved, which is amazing. Finally, because you demanded it, the originals are back. X Factor. And they make up the bottom of the cover. Archangel's there, Blue Beast is there, Iceman, Jean and her red and yellow Big X one, and Cyclops in his blue and white cross. And Beast is in a yellow, where the X is yellow, and then the bold colors are brown, and it does not look great. And then above them is Havoc, Storm, and Wolverine, all um, I don't know, looking very demonic. And this comic came out in, oh no, oh dad eyes. I need new glasses. March 1989. And it says Inferno, part the third, which is a curious way of how to do it. This is a moment that speaks most eloquently for itself. And it's Wolverine kissing Jean Grey right on the face. He took off his mask, but she kept hers on. So, curious. Stan Lee presents Burn. Writer Chris Claremont, penciler Mark Silvestri, inker Dan Green, rest in peace. Colorist Glynis Oliver, letterer Tom Orchovsky, editor Bob Harris, and editor-in-chief Tom DeFalco. It is a night when the universes shake, and the fabric of reality itself, the sum and substance of all that ever was and ever shall be, tears asunder, to be woven anew by the forces battling here into something better or worse, or perhaps into nothing at all, say final obliviation. For what is worth, the settling is Manhattan Island in the southernmost reaches of Central Park, which one day the X-Men will live out of for a little bit in time. And the players, the Uncanny X-Men, facing off against X Factor, who, not to be terribly long ago, were the founding five members of X-Men. But this is a magic place with a C and a K. When legends are made as hearts are forever broken, and a cursed place where nothing is as it should be, and even less what it seems. So our cast of characters, and this is a double page splash. Wolverine still kissing Jean's face. The moon is very red, dark skies everywhere. The purple, like the last season of Ninja Turtles, the 87 season, or last three seasons, really. Uh, our characters, Angel, but he looks like Archangel. Dazzler, Storm, Rogue, Longshot, who's on the ground and Rogue's holding him. Havoc, Psylocke in her Madame Hydra big purple armored outfit. Wolverine, Marvel Girl, Madeline Pryor in a green jumpsuit, like Helen Ripley from Aliens. Iceman, Cyclops, Beast. Who's this all furry here? And Wolverine's like, worth waiting for, yay, Genie? What, Wolverine, what? And Cyclops is like, that's enough, mister, let her go. And then Wolverine makes a snide comment about how, like, why are you mad? You have a wife, don't you? Like, let me get some redhead action. And then Jean psychically throws Wolverine back with a scram, which feels like exactly the right sentiment. And she can't believe that the X-Men are not dead, even though she fully recognizes that she's been dead. So maybe, it's hard to keep X-Men dead. And so much of must have happened during X Factor's tie-ins, because like Madeline's clearly not the Goblin Queen right now. But Bobby recognizes like, hey, that's Madeline, and so they go on to attack. And Madeline's holding baby Nathan, but Iceman and Beast don't care about that, so they start charging at her, and Havoc has to blow up the ice shield because he's protective of Madeline, but also, baby Nathan. And then Beast bounces off a tree holding Bobby, which must be freezing. And then back to Logan, who's taunting Cyclops that Jeannie loved the kiss. Like his senses tell him so, which is like, all right, buddy. And Warren is like tired of all this nonsense and like starts attacking Logan, which is pretty cool. As those two have a heated rivalry. And then it looks like Logan's not gonna win this fight, and so Rogue like dashes or tackles Archangel from behind, which is impressive as you gotta avoid those sharp wings, and then gives him a big old kiss on the face. However, as Rogue with that kiss begins to temporarily absorb Warren Worthington's psyche and powers, she sees the vision of Apocalypse standing over her, but Apocalypse as if he was Archangel. So maybe it's just a deaf persona. And then Warren slapping her in the face, calling her a trap. He's like, get away from me. He's like, what the heck? And then Cyclops shoots Rogue from behind. So it's just like fight, fight, fight. Havoc and Iceman are fighting each other. He blasts Bobby's ice blast he did. So now it's causing a flash flood. So everyone gets washed out. Dazzler gets tripped up by him. Lockjaw. Nope. Longshot. If only Lockjaw was here. Lockjaw, honestly, Longshot and Dazzler, like he lifts her up from the water and they start kissing. So I don't know, things are happening. Scott runs over to Maddie because he finally's like, hey, maybe I should take care of these two. He's like, Gene, see to the others, make sure no one's swept away. I'll take care of Madeline. I'll just bet you will. What? So delicious now. Where were you, Scott, the night I really needed you? When the marauders kidnapped my son, gunned me down, and left me for dead? What are you talking about? And Havoc's like, get away from her, Cyclops. Mountain didn't know. Would it have made a difference? Of course. How can you say that? You're hurting me. Oh yeah, because he's doing the classic, male character grabs a woman's upper arm, and then somehow in all of media, a woman becomes powerless when that happens. Except unless you're Madeline Pryor, who's just like, unhand me. You're hurting me. He's like, I'm sorry. You always are, but nothing changes. It only gets worse because you do it again. And then Havoc's finally gotten closer. And Scott's just like, it's none of your concern, man. He's like, not my concern. That's like, that's my lady. And then Nazir shows up. Could that perhaps prove the quintessential difference between man and demon? Our word is our bond. And Scott's like, Nazir, oh yeah, he's all red, and Havoc's noticing that he's red too. Tatra have been by the Technarch transmode virus remade as a being of organic circuitry. Each byte of my system suffice with Edrich energy. In all creation, there's none like me, the ultimate living, sentient, magical computer. Oh yeah, and then I guess there's two demons running around that are Jean's parents, but turn into demons. And they come to attack Jean, and now she's powered as a tail. I guess it's fun because Jean has a mask, like pretty much like a Gambit's head sock, but all red and covers her eyes. So she's wearing that. So when you cut to another redhead with no mask on, and you know it's Madeline, and that's a clever way. Plus, Madeline looks nothing like Jean. What's the problem, dear? All you have to do is save yourself, is kill them. If you don't, though, they'll most certainly slaughter you. And Longshot and Dazzler are just like leaving the battle because they don't want any part of it. Poor dear, this just isn't your day. And Scott's all mad at her for enjoying this situation. Why, Scott? However could you say such a thing? And Scott just wants her to stop. Dear heart, I've barely begun. The best is yet to come. Look, I think I see my ride. And then, like, this demon chariot shows up to grab Madeline. Nasir is an arrogant, overbearing, egocentric beaut, but he does have his moments. Time to choose, lover. What? Take fast, Cyclops. Which of us do you save? Who's the one you really love? And of course, he chooses Jean. And so then Madeline jumps on the thing, and then they're gone. And Havoc's like, he reaches out to grab the chariot, and then Scott goes to hold Jean. Oh yeah, and Havoc did make it onto the chariot, and so he's trying to get. Oh yeah, this is, how could I have forgotten? So this, because I read this on Friday, now it's a whole different day or Wednesday. Anyways, so they're going through Manhattan, but they're going at such high speeds that Havoc's costume's ripping apart, and so now he's in that Goblin Prince outfit, which for a reason I forgot that was just his outfit, but ripped asunder. Because usually, I guess I don't ever notice the white circle on the chest for Havoc. It's usually just a black, like, quarter shirt and the loincloth and the thigh-high boots. Home sweet home, my Lionheart. I'll dress to play my part. Now it's your turn. Madeline, you look so loud, Produm. Scott and Jean, were they right about you? Does it matter? No. I swore I'd stand by you to the end, and I'm one Summer's brother who keeps his promises. Spoken, lover, like a true goblin prince. Okay, now we cut. And then Colossus is here, like running up to them. He's like, Madeline, Havoc, don't go in there. My friends, you're allying yourselves with demons. And then we get to the panel, why this comic is in my collection. And I'm pretty sure this is the book I had to buy off of Amazon because I was missing two Inferno tie-ins that involve Ileana Rasputin. And so the wall apparently was actually like an open mouth, and it closes with a slam, and knocking Colossus back and goes, right you are, Tin Man, and with winners. Your sweetling sister Ileana fought her chance for glory. These two, though, embrace it with all their black hearts. No, Nazir, not so long as Colossus life has life and strength to stop him. And you, and he jumps onto the wall. It starts climbing up, and I guess it's the Empire State Building. Meanwhile, back in the park, and Longshot gets hit with a snowball, and Bobby's trying to get them back in a fight. Beast is fighting Rogue, or he throws a giant rock at Rogue, who grabs a tree and then hits the rock right back to him, which is silly as Rogue beats Beast all the time. And now Longshot and Dazzler are fighting Cyclops. And pretty much the X-Men are under the influence of Limbo that's happening all around them. And X-Factor isn't. And so, but now the X-Factor is to the point now where they are just like, fine, you want to fight, this fight. And now Wolverine's fighting Bobby, and that doesn't seem fair either. And then Archangel tackles Wolverine again, which is more of a clear fight. Blades versus Blades. And then Archangel with a Sharak, like, almost takes off Wolverine's head, but instead, I was about to say disembowels a tree, but that's not it. But hacks a tree down. Meanwhile, Storm's up above the air, and she's feeling more and more the effects. And then she's noticing the Empire State Building is just becoming more and more warped. From the other dimension of Earth, where Forge and I were exiled by his ancient adversary. As seen in X-Men 225 to 227, The Fall of the Mutants. So now she has a memory of Forge. And then we're back on the summit. From this summit, oh wait, who's talking? Oh, it's Nessier. From this summit, Dread Lady, your own Edrich energy implied by the soul essences of the human lives absorb into the very fabric of the structure. Will create an eternal bridge between Earth and my realm of limbo. And that once more at long last, demonkind will rule this world. And I wonder if that's why Inferno didn't last too, like, in my mind. Well, I must have read it all jagged. And, like, as I bought the issues, and then I didn't go, like, well, let me sit down and read Inferno. And until recently, and I don't even think it's in print anymore, but Inferno takes over, like, three big um, graphic novels because there's all the side stuff with, like, Spider-Man titles and Avengers. Then there's the proper X Factor Uncanny X-Men crossovers. And then there's New Mutants. And no, so I'm sure there's the New Mutants X Factor New Uncanny X-Men novel graphic collection. And then the other collections, all the other stuff. But they're usually pretty big and costly. And I don't know why I wouldn't. You think I would have spent the money to keep it, but I don't own any of those, but I got the individual issues I wanted, so that's pretty good. But the timing of the master spell is absolutely critical. You must. You forget yourself, Nasir. This is my party, remember? I'll do as I please. Of course, of course. Forgive your humble servant, who yearns to crack your accursed bones, he thinks. He meant no reproof, but the enchantment must be cast by dawn. Else by all thus be far transpire this goblin night will be wiped away, and the world and its people restored to the way it was. There are still many preparations. And then she snaps her fingers. Oh, the ye of little faith. Which is where some people agree is like Madeline shouldn't bear too big of a cross for Inferno. Like, sure, it was a scary couple hours, but if all things don't, if she changes her mind at any point, everything just reverts back to normal. So, no harm, no foul. And once again, this Goblin Queen outfit is amazing. For comics, it's like Sylvester does an amazing job with it. But so like you'll see like women wearing the Goblin Queen like cosplay. I'm just like, man, you are so brave. I don't know if I could do that. Plus, how much double-sided tape does this thing? Like, how does it stay on? I don't know. Pesto, one demonic temple complete with sacrificial altar. Satisfied? Sable shards, not even I could. This is still the matter of the sacrifice. My pets have them. Look at them, Nashir. Reduce their foulest essence. Professor and Mrs. Gray still dote on the baby as though he were their own flesh and blood, their true grandson. No doubt about it, the kid's a charmer. Here's an awesome panel of the Gray demons holding baby Nathan, who doesn't look too scared. Just like his old man. I'll take him. Scrappy, too, and tough. Not a dry cry out of him. Doesn't even look scared. I wonder if that come from Scott or me. Should have been just you and me, kiddo, from the start. Too bad it didn't work out. And Jean senses that baby Nathan's in danger, and so they're like, we gotta get up there. And somehow Madeline hears that from all the way up there. It's like, I heard that. You reached out to her. Oh, that's all. I bore you, boy. I gave you birth to you. You're my son. How dare you turn to the resurrected retread cow? Ungrateful wretch. And I did all the work, but she gets all the glory. Which is also like when Nathan, baby, baby. When Cable grows up and then gets his own clone, I sort of like the idea that that Stripe would have been the real baby Nathan all grown up and twisted because of, the rocky babyhood he had. I think that'll make the Cable we've been following the clone. And then it'll be fun because then the characters that stick around will be Madeline Pryor, clone of Jean, Cable, clone of Strife, and I don't know, it'll be like a set. But they went a different route. And I mean, it still works, but it's just interesting, the whole Summers family. As your own earthly sage, the poet Shakespeare said, how sharper than a shepherd's serpent's tooth it is to have a thankless child. Why must she always take what is mine? You exist. Creation, my lady, is not big enough for the pair of you. In that case, she's past due for her final exit. I'll cast the spell, Nazir. Everything you desire and more. But first, I want Jean Grey's heart. I want her head. I want her soul. And there's a great close up of her eyes as she's just like she is committed. This is page 26 of 48. So we're and then Rogue is now fighting Jean, who's putting up a psi shield, and that's the only reason why she's still alive. And then Storm with a whoosh has brought Jean up into the air. And then Storm's like, well, that makes us even. You're alive. So I guess Storm being up in the air is giving her fresh air. And so now they hug, which is fun, as she hasn't seen, like, these two have been together in the same room in forever. Nashir has shown up to attack them, but since they're in the air, Archangel joins the fight too. And, like, they start falling to the ground, though. I don't know why they would, as, like, Storm wouldn't have lost control. But Storm shoots. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so Archangel aiming for Nazir throws a bunch of daggers through his chest, but that startles Jean and Storm, and so then they start falling, and then Rogue catches Storm and Jean, so that's fun, and then like throws Jean at Warren, and then Beast bounces off of walls to catch Storm, which maybe that makes the most sense. Because you don't want Warren catching Storm. And now Nazir and Rogue are fighting in the air, and then he's touching her face, and then she's getting the transmode virus. Meanwhile, watching from above, Nazir, you buffoon, can't you do anything right? Her power can only affect him if she's alive to use it. Her natural inability may not be the equal of his strength. At last! Man, does it have to be this way? Think of Inferno as nature's. Oh, wait. Uh-oh. The balloon didn't uh, close, and so I thought it was. But Madeline says, think of Inferno as nature's way of clearing out the world's dead wood. A facile rationale, Madeline, for murder. Uh-oh. And Colossus has made it to the top. And then Havoc blasts him. So he made it all the way to the top of the Empire State Building. Havoc just blasts him right off of it, and he's like a mile falling down. Bobby notices, makes an ice slide for him down. And because he's essentially a giant battering ram, the slide is not accidental, like Bobby did it on purpose. Uh, he makes the slide in right where Nasir is, and it just like cracks him in half. It's a pretty spectacular collision, but it isn't the physical impact that does the damage. Magical beings cannot abide the touch of iron, and since Colossus' body is a composed of ultra-dense organic steel, the crash proves almost as fatally disruptive to the Demon Lord as it seems for one of the X-Men's teammates. And Colossus hits the ground with a spoot, and Longshot's just cracking up about it. Nasir feels pretty defeated, so he disappears with a poof. And so X-Men, X-Factor reuniting. Storm's telling them that they gotta get back up there. confused by these panels, so I had to read them. But so they're united. Jean, I forgot, does not have her telepathy powers. So Psylocke's giving her access to her telepathy powers so they can try to mind link with Madeline. And Jean, getting blessed with telepathy again, goes like, oh, I'd forgotten how beautiful. And so they are committed to going right back up. And so Storm floats Colossus up, and then for zap, Cyclops blasts him to go even further up like a bullet. And then Archangel's fastball specials Wolverine. So then Nasir's on the ledge with Madeline Havoc. And then Colossus goes through the middle of the ledge. And so they're very unsturdy. But then the wall snakes out and grabs Colossus and starts taunting him. Wolverine's up there. He starts slashing away at Nazir. Archangel went down and grabbed Dazzler, who starts to shoot at the wall holding Colossus. Storm's blasting at. Oh. Storm is flying Bobby up. Bobby freezes Nasir's legs, and then he finally freezes the rest of them. Beast is holding Dazzler and Rogue for some reason I don't get, with Longshot looking very angrily. And so then the entire Empire State Building is just covered in ice. Fools! You have not beaten me. Freezing has only made me stronger. Some of the Inferno code has lowered the electrical resistance within my living circuitry. I sense the term superconductivity, enabling my system to work at near ultimate efficiency. I'm thinking with inconceivable speed. Inconceivable. Spells, concepts, theorems. My mind is ablaze with knowledge and insight. And I guess Beast being completely fur is trying to warm up Rogue and Dazzler. Meanwhile, Bobby keeps shooting ice blasts and Storm shooting electricity. Well, I guess I don't know what Bobby's blasting, but Storm's shooting lightning to break up the ice. And Cyclops gets out, Dazzler, Colossus, head on! And he's like crying for some reason. Oh, that's why we're sweltering. Yeah. So he's sweating, which I never thought about his visor. Like it must be sticky after some days. So Dazzler does a Shirak. Cyclops does a Varam. And Colossus punches the base of the ice with a Kasham. And it breaks everything. Bless you, humans, for saving me the effort of freeing myself. The most fitting reward I can offer in return is the quickest of deaths. What is happening to me? No! The heat creating quantum increase in the resistance within my circuitry. Sable shards, this is agony. Which is the second time he said sable shards, and I guess that's just his expressions. And the humid air disrupting the Linux linkings. By the abyss, mutants, you will pay! And Storm's like, not this time, demon. Scott's like, Storm, don't! Your lightning will only make him stronger. And so she overcharges him with a kaboom and a shakara boom. And then Nazir's like, circuitry overloaded, elements no longer cohering, can't magical thoughts, spells, gappling, backlash, even as I conceive of them. Mercy, woman, I beg you, I serve you, spare me. And Storm says, never. And then giant splash page, boom! Page 45. Empire State Building destroyed, like the top of Ghostbusters, that tower. Later, The X-Men are all regrouping. Longshot's brushing his hair back. And Scott's like, the idea was to defeat Nazir Storm, not destroy him. The one who could not be accomplished without the other. And without him, how do we restore Manhattan to normal? How do you find my son? Who's to say this is not normal? Don't be ridiculous. Who appointed you judge, jury, and executioner? I am Storm. I am the lead. I lead the X-Men. That gives me the responsibility and the right. That's not what Professor Xavier taught us. No, an X Factor is, I suppose, the true exemplar of his dream. Now who's being ridiculous? Vast and terrible powers threaten our world, Cyclops. This is our lot to stand against them. Then Jean tries to talk back at Storm, and then she gets whisked away. And we get our final splash page of the title. Now, X-Men and X Factor, it's your turn. And we see it was Madeline who grabbed Jean by the neck by a demonic chain. The gray demons are there still holding baby Nathan, which looks like he has red hair. And Havoc is standing behind Madeline as he should. To be continued in X Factor 38. Next in X-Men 243, part the fourth, Ashes. And that was Uncanny X-Men 242. So on SNFWM on Twitter and Instagram, I'm going to post the one panel of the Ilyana reference, so you'll be able to tell when I uploaded the video in real time, or a podcast, sorry. And so you follow the podcast on those two apps, platforms. Then you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, which I used to be able to post Instagram images on both SNFWM and my account at the same time. And then, like, the last couple of times I couldn't. So, only place to find that content is on the podcast one. Because I was like, well, might as well make that the official one. And then, so at Jackal SIII is where you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and YouTube. And so next will be my Carol Danvers tie-in for the Marvels. So I'll talk at you then. All right, everyone. Bye.